to discuss bestiality, abortion, AIDS, Irishmen who drink, nuns, premature ejaculation, breastfeeding, and farts.
This is PTR Radio.
And welcome, everybody, to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. But you know what? You know who that intro is going to go over well with? Specifically, the people who are going to be really happy to hear that intro. The people at Adobe that I talked to today that goes, "Oh, you have a podcast? What is it? Maybe I should listen." No. No, you shouldn't. You absolutely should not listen. And I really should just censor myself when they say, what's your podcast?
At least wait until you get the cut down version of the one McKenna wrote for us, so that we have something better for them to listen to.
But yeah, so, I'm meeting with all these vendors. I'm meeting with all these vendors the last few weeks, and everybody goes, "Oh, you have a really professional setup. I mean, you have a microphone, and you know you can headphones. I mean, you must do a radio show." And I go, "Actually, yeah, I kind of do." I'm like, yeah, I do a podcast. And then today I was on a meeting, and it's like, "Whoa, I wonder when the show is." I'm like, "Actually, it's tonight." So I'm like, I can't help myself, Mike. I'm just trying to get more listeners.
Well, listen, I'm worse, okay? Because I went on a Zoom meeting, pretty much just like this, and somebody, nope, wrong side. Somebody was like, "What's that?"
You said, "Well, that's Butterstown Gifts and Creations. They're a great local business to support."
So I had to explain the three of them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, the buzzard here. See if I can do this. The buzzard. That's the logo for my hockey club. This here is the wife's business, and this one here is my radio show. And I kind of like went, "Oh."
But did they
kind of like how Ralphie at the Christmas table was like, or at the dinner table was like, "I want official Red Rider's BB gun." Ooh.
I always love the follow-up question though. Radio show, what channel are you on? Oh, you think we're that successful, do you? Yeah, no, we're not even successful enough to be on Sirius XM's app. So that's how.
Terrible. Terrible.
Which, speaking of Sirius XM, because this is how our show goes. If you're not familiar with the show, we just tangent. Ooh, shiny thing. So yeah, my wife and I were driving home the other day, and we're in her car, which I signed her up for Sirius XM, and she goes, "Man, I really wish they had a Christmas channel on Sirius." And I said, "Well, I'm sure that they do. I can't imagine they've got an Elvis Costello channel. Certainly they have at least one Christmas channel." So of course I launched.
Yelly.
Yeah. So I launch up my browser and I go, "Oh yeah, no, they have 17 Christmas channels, depending upon what you want to listen to." And I start rattling through them. Mike, they have a Hallmark Christmas channel.
No, not allowed.
Hallmark's gone too far. So, yeah, no, 17. One is an urban Christmas channel.
Not allowed.
Another one is, I told her, I'm like, well, they do have one Spanish-speaking Christmas channel. That might be fun. But no, it's amazing. And, half of them were only on the app. So, counting the app ones, does Sirius have like 400 channels now or what? I'm not sure. They have a ton. I mean, Mike, you were featured on their hits show. So, I mean, you know more about Sirius XM than anybody else. I mean, you were liked by Facebook by their hits channel?
Bro, I don't know what's going on here, but I got some serious choppiness happening on my end.
Oh, okay.
I've been seeing it too.
You have? Well, that's not good. I don't know. Choppiness. Well, that's no good. Let's close a few things down. Some high taskbar things.
I know it's the holiday season and everyone is streaming movies from
The Hallmark Channel.
the Hallmark app in your house. So
Yeah. That is not a lie, unfortunately. So let's
Kim
see
is
here.
telling me I look like a 70s porn star because my mustache is going back to being out of control again. I'm wearing my Christmas outfit because this is the last show we're going to do before Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. It is the last show before Christmas.
Colin has his Christmas shirt on, I see.
That's
He's
more
got
of a
his Kwanzaa shirt.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully.
All right.
I'm
That seems better now.
okay, good. Well,
Okay, so as far as SiriusXM, I don't know why they have so many damn Christmas channels. I mean, it's one. You only need one, maybe two. Maybe you
Agreed.
have you have the classic Christmas songs, and then you have the modern Christmas songs.
yeah,
So maybe you have Holly and Mistletoe, or
Jingle
something.
and Bell.
there you
and
go.
maybe a third. And maybe a third with just Trans-Siberian Orchestra 24/7.
Actually, there is a Trans-Siberian Orchestra channel that
Oh,
is just Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Colin. So they listened and they did what you wanted.
I was just saying that one makes sense.
Only in Colin's world does it make sense. I don't see where it makes sense, but
No.
that's just me.
Well, it
I agree.
makes more sense than going to see two different Trans-Siberian Orchestra concerts in the same year just so you can see both the East Coast and the West Coast version. But I did that anyway.
That
You know,
I don't think either one of us has any response to that. To
No.
be completely honest with you, Colin, I'm not. I don't know how to respond to that. What are you drinking?
yeah. What are you drinking tonight?
Root of all evil. It's ginger mead.
I got a gripe with ginger.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a theme going here because my drink tonight is ginger whiskey with ginger ale.
Okay, so I fully intended on drinking a Moscow Mule Shine tonight. Okay, now that is a Moscow Mule, but instead of vodka with moonshine. Except for I tried it last night, as I typically do. I do a taste test run, and I about vomited because, as it turns out, I don't like ginger beer. And that's a main component.
Well, that is definitely one thing that we do not agree on there, Shaggy. Because ginger, in any form, is wonderful.
My wife asked me, she said, well, how did you like your Moscow Mule? I said, you know what? It's pretty sad when the moonshine is the part that I prefer.
So next time, you should try having a Potter Mule, which
Okay.
is butterbeer and moonshine.
See, I think my daughter would like that. I'm not sure I would.
I don't know what butterbeer
Okay,
even
both
is. I
of
just
you-
know they.
Do both of you have rum?
Always have rum. Unless the rum's gone.
What kind
Okay,
of
so
rum?
for the next episode of PTR, we'll do the hot buttered rum recipe that I've been
Okay.
threatening for months.
Now, but the question is, okay, is this like white clear rum? Is it spiced rum? Is it dark rum? Is it, what? There are different kinds of rum.
Yes, for this recipe, I will leave it up to you to decide what is your favorite rum.
That's not the way recipes work.
I probably will be using Myers.
That
So
still
Myers
doesn't.
is dark rum.
Yes, well,
Myers is a
that's
dark
the-
rum.
Okay.
Yes.
That I remember from bartending school. And according to Kim, you're fine live. So the was only to us.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Um,
All right.
good
so-
to know.
Yeah. So, well,
I always
long
have
as
to
we're
remember.
getting-
I never know if it's on my end. When Colin said he was getting it too, because if Dropbox is syncing up, especially now, since Butterstown is so busy, she's constantly editing her files and stuff. And if it's trying to sync, it's like, yeah, that's a no good.
Yeah, that's a no bueno.
No,
Okay. By the way, the toy's up and running for you if you want now.
you lie.
No.
Oh no, you don't. He's up now. Okay,
He's
yeah,
up
see
now.
There, she says he's a good now. This is a bite to me.
With all this
Now,
Italian
Shaggy,
talk, we should play, Dominic the Italian Donkey. But then we get another copyright violation. I would
And apparently,
talking
that's
about
basically her
podcast-
saying, "I'm going to keep working, and you can just suck it up." That's it. Tough Tuki is code for "suck it up, Buttercup."
So I've actually been surprised that Shaggy hasn't taken us down the path of trying to sign up for Audible's podcast.
Well, actually, funny enough, so we get I get at least one email a week from Libsyn, our content distributor, that says, "Hey, you should be on Spotify." Spotify's the new home of all podcasts, except and now I think they also have Audible subscription. I think that you can distribute to Audible as well. The problem is, everywhere in those terms, it says, if you play 1 second of copyrighted music, we're gonna take your firstborn, and then we're gonna stake you up and burn you in front of them, So they kind of scare me. All right, it's not like YouTube where they go, "Hey, you're bad. You played something that somebody else owns, so we're just gonna give them a little bit of money,"
Or nobody else is going to be able to see your video.
Yeah, sorry, or Blackistan won't be able to see your video, but everybody else in the world can.
Well, the entire world couldn't see our one video because Ron Swanson decided he was going to get a short and curly up his butt.
Yeah.
We're advocating against vegan bacon, and he's the best person to do it. And all of a sudden,
Doesn't want to be an advocate for us.
well, apparently we can't get too drunk anymore either, because if we start to sound like Bob Dylan, Universal Media Group is going to come after us and saying you can't be playing that song on the radio.
Ooh, no. Well,
Where the priest on the roller coaster opens his eyes, as Titanic starts to rise. So I order a side of chili fries with a 4-year-old hunchback sword swallower with 13 eyes in my mind. Thank you, Bob Dylan. Every song ever.
Have you ever actually heard Bob Dylan live in a concert?
I don't think I've heard Bob Dylan speak.
I didn't know Bob Dylan was alive. Thought he was a fictional character.
He just sold all his music. But no, it was quite a while back, but me and I think I went with Kate. And anyway, it was a double header. It was a concert with both Paul Simon and Bob Dylan.
Oh, I'm sure there was cocaine running rampant there to stay awake. Good Lord.
And Geritol.
Well, when I say that,
Geritol needs for them. So we got through the first half of the concert, which was great. And then there was this part in the middle where they sang together, and that was okay. And then it was the Bob Dylan part of the concert. And we realized that the worst singer in the world of Bob Dylan songs is probably Bob Dylan. He did not know any of the words or actually any of the tunes because the songs were unrecognizable. So we just decided to leave.
Now,
he was singing
just to be
Tambourine Man. It did not sound like Mr. Tambourine Man.
Just to be clear.
Yep.
My comment about needing cocaine to stay awake was not reflective of the audience. It was reflective of my opinion of the music, because the two of them are two of the most mellow record collections or song catalogs that I can think of.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody. I don't want anybody hating me again.
So I'm just saying, if we actually had Paul Simon on here and he sang one of his, not Paul Simon, if we had Bob Dylan on PTR radio and he sang one of his songs, I doubt Universal would be able to do a content match because they would not recognize what song it was.
If we had Bob Dylan on it, no, they would know Bob Dylan was on here because I'm telling every freaking person in the world that I did a radio show with Bob Dylan. You know what? At that point, everybody at work, yeah, you want to know, you want to hear something cool? I did a show with Bob Dylan. Go ahead.
It would replace the show with Sally Graziano as my most talked about show, my most favorite guest. You know?
Yeah, the Nobel Prize Committee couldn't find him, but we got him on PTR. That would be our.
That would be something. That would be something. All right. All right. God. Speaking about things that are so bizarre but yet true, let's talk about Israel. We don't really give them enough, microphone time on the show. I know that, Colin wants to bring them up constantly, and Mike, you and I shut him down all the time. But, one thing you never hear from the Israeli Space Agency. Partially because I didn't even know they had one.
I was going to say, I didn't even know they had one.
But evidently they do. And
yes, and they're more advanced than any of us. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they are part of the Galactic Federation. This is not a joke, people.
No.
Or at least them thinking that they're part of the Galactic Federation is not a joke. At least according to one man.
Yeah. He can confirm the existence of aliens because he claims they have been among us for a damn long time. Boy, that's a weird quote to get from a scientist. How long have they been here? Damn long time. Damn long time. That's scientific measurement. He even says they have their own org, the Galactic Federation. Not only that, but he alleges President Trump was about to blow the lid off the whole thing recently, but he was convinced to shut his trap because most humans weren't ready for the truth yet. I want to meet the man who was able to keep Donald Trump quiet about anything.
All right, so I missed the part or didn't read far enough to see that Donald Trump somehow was mentioned in this article, but now it's all starting to make sense. They gave up on every other possible conspiracy theory about why he lost the election, so he pulled a Spielberg and just said, aliens, people. And so here's the irony about this, okay? This really does sound like the plot from Men in Black when you think about it. And that was on quite a few times this weekend, where they've been living among us and we don't even know, nobody even knows it. Of course they don't, because the neuralizer is making sure that nobody knows. But, and again, I've already got one entire nation that hates me. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. What the hell is Israel got,
Mike,
that the rest of the planet doesn't have? That's the one country that the aliens are like, let's go there.
I want to ask a question, Mike, of you and Colin. When I say alien abduction and experimentation, what type of person comes to mind?
Someone who believes that aliens have come to our flat Earth.
Okay. All right. If you could create, in words, a picture of this person that says, I was experimented on. Okay, Florida man. So we're thinking beer belly, pickup truck, ripped T-shirt, proudly has flags on his truck, and probably hand-drawn bumper stickers, is what I'm thinking. All right, now here's what clinches it for me. According to the 87-year-old Israeli scientist, there is an agreement between the U.S. government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here. They, too, are researching and trying to understand the whole fabric of the universe, and they want us as helpers.
I wish I could tell you what you said.
Why, helpers, but why choose those people? Those people can barely get out of Walmart. Those people think
well, it's only happening. It's only happening to us again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know why. Here, I'm going to stop doing this. All right. That should drastically change things. I would hope.
Colin, are you getting this? What are you doing?
No, that one was fun. I didn't hear anything from. I didn't hear any.
It must be me.
Issues.
That must be you. I don't. Anyway, to reiterate, they signed a contract with us to do experiments here. They are researching and trying to understand the whole fabric of the universe, and they want us as helpers. In what world does that make sense? I don't know.
Try it again.
All right. I just did see a jump cut on you, Mike. That was a
well,
very
yeah,
interesting
because
jump cut.
I got the host unable to connect the host, so I don't know if it's I don't know if it's you or me.
I don't know. Colin didn't jump cut, but I don't know.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't see any problems.
All right.
Okay, so it is officially me.
All right. So aliens, Mike. Give me your thought. Aliens.
I still don't understand what Israel has that nobody else does that would make the aliens want to be there.
No, it's not that they're there, Mike. It's that Israel just isn't afraid to tell the truth.
Oh, well, that's their own problem.
It's not that they have a secret base in Israel. It's that, the Israeli government, as part of this cabal,
Oh, the cabal, of course.
a cabal, yeah.
Yeah.
According to this article from TMZ, Obama all but confirmed the existence of aliens himself, but wasn't as loose-lipped as this Israeli scientist. I don't remember that as part of his book, but it could have been.
I don't recall. But you know what? It kind of makes sense now because maybe it explains why. I always thought that his children might be a little bit of an alien mix. Like Michelle Obama, she could be an alien.
What?
In the same sense that Oprah is an alien. What if Men in Black wasn't lying? Think about it.
Well, I think that I definitely think that Oprah alien makes sense. I don't know that many people that ping pong on weight that much, so it's got to be. But I don't know about Michelle Obama.
Well, I think the Illuminati is code for alien.
Okay. Could be, I guess. All right. Oh, all right, Mike. We're going to go on to another bright idea of yours, or something else
of mine.
Yes, something else that you pointed out that also proves it's yet another thing of why, if you want to pick the smartest, entity, don't choose human beings. There's
Correct.
a hidden danger lurking in your house, Mike.
Yes.
One that nobody recognizes except for now.
So let's be real clear about this. Folks, the number one seller of Chinese goods in America is Dollar Tree. Or I'll say dollar stores in general.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they have to recall an item from a Dollar Tree, you think, well, what could that item be? Maybe it's a foodstuff. Maybe it's, crayons or paints that have lead in them. Who knows? Maybe the fake Tupperware has BPA in it. You don't know. No. This particular item is being recalled because it's a fire hazard. Folks, it's a candle. It is a candle, scented candle, that is being recalled because it's a fire hazard.
So let's let that thing sink in. So the thing you purchase to light on fire to make your house smell good, they had to recall because it might catch on fire when you light it on fire as its intended use.
Well, not just that it might catch on fire, it's way too good at catching on fire. That's the problem.
The candle is excellent at catching on fire.
Well, I think what Colin is saying is they put too much of combustible ingredients into the wax mixture. Therefore, a tiny little flame could flare up into the size of the Human Torch.
So we need a less combustible candle, is what you're saying.
What we need...
So on the candle, the wick is supposed to be lit. So they're saying on these particular candles, the wax itself catches on fire.
Hold on.
And if the wax itself catches on fire...
a less combustible candle. So that's a candle that won't light. It's very hard to light this candle.
Are you going to prove this to us?
Because there's no wick and there's no wax. Very hard. It is a sucky candle. That's why it's a box of Scooby snacks.
I was going to say, you just wanted to show off that you had Scooby snacks. That's all.
No, I just couldn't find anything else that wasn't old man. It was either going to be that or it was look, these probiotic gummies. This is not a candle.
Look. Beard balm. This is wax, but it's not a candle.
Yes.
And if you tried to light it, probably wouldn't.
Would beard balm light on fire?
Candles, the wick should be on fire. The candle should not be on fire because then the candle breaks and then you burn your house down. So that's what we get with these cheap foreign candles.
We get, yeah. So don't light your candle on fire. That's what we're coming away with this at.
We're going to be smart about this, if there is such a thing.
Yeah.
We're doing a science lesson. Will beard balm light on fire?
Let's see.
We're going to put some beard balm on something else to light it, not the tin itself.
Yeah.
Correct.
This reminds me of a moment over a year ago.
It's on something that's metal.
Okay. That metal is going to heat up very quickly.
No, it doesn't light on fire. It just instantly melts. That's all. Okay. As expected.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, I was just going to say, it reminds me of a scenario where the words hot, hot, very hot came out quickly while Colin and I were trying to warm up an MRE and heat it during a taste test.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
And we forgot that chemical reactions that are meant to boil water get very hot and might require oven mitts.
Yes. I seem to recall that episode.
Yeah. Oh, I wish for the video back then, because that would have been
I thought we had video of that, but
no, I don't think we were shooting video at that time.
Okay, so what else do we have here? Well, why not? Because it's 2020. Apparently, baby names now have to be banned because, people can't have common sense not to name their kids stupid shit.
Yeah, so, towards the end of the year, we always get the list of, okay, here's the baby names we see being hot next year. Here's what was hot this year. These are the most popular baby names for the decade or whatever. But turns out there's some names, much like Elon Musk found out, that you can't put on a birth certificate. And
Outside of the United States.
Yeah, outside of the United States. So some of these are from around the country. For example, in France, cannot name your baby Nutella. You know, the hazelnut treat. Also, you can't name them fraise, which means strawberry. And then also
That one is because it can be misconstrued as a different slang word. So they said they can't be named that because someone may make fun of their name.
Yes.
Which is most names.
Yeah. Nobody ever mocks anyone because of their name as long as they're not on this list. You know. Also, cannot, due to childhood mockery, name your child Prince William. Why didn't they just also say Prince Albert?
Well, they did have a second choice.
Okay. But
it's in the blurb next to it. Their second choice, which was also rejected, was Minnie Cooper.
Yeah. And
Winnie, what the? Elon Musk, is that you?
So BRFXXCCXXMN
No, you're saying it all wrong. It's pronounced Albin.
Really? There's no A's in this.
This is per. Okay, so apparently, they submitted this baby name to protest a fine they received for failing to register a baby name by the child's 5th birthday. So, 5 years old, and
it's just called
child, boy, you.
Well, because thing 1 and
5
thing
years
2
old,
were already
still
taken.
No name.
A child was working for a long time for Disney until they finally gave the Baby Yoda an actual name.
Yes, Kevin.
Yes, that was in Sweden. Also in Sweden, parents had to go to court. This is allowed, but they had to go to court to fight to use the names Metallica, Lego, and Elvis.
Okay, Elvis, I don't understand because that's an actual name.
Yeah, the other
yes,
two.
that's not a Swedish name.
So
See, in some of those Nordic countries, the rule is not like in France. They don't want the kids to be made fun of. But up in the Nordic countries, they actually require them to be names, like ethnically correct names.
The meaning of the name Elvis in Norse is sage.
So could they name their child Yaya Ding Dong?
They should.
So they won of Elvis because they said no, that's actually that's a word that we can translate. So therefore, it should be allowed.
Except, well, here's another one to go along with Metallica and such that you cannot use in Sweden. IKEA. That one you can't use.
Well, of course not, because that's what Sweden is known for besides their little meatballs. Yeah. And most people only know about the meatballs because you get them at IKEA.
Now, also, we're huge fans of Kim and Kanye. I mean, they're usually a segment on the show, but because it's Christmas, we ran out of time. But in New Zealand, their second child's name would not fly because New Zealand says you cannot give your children names that resemble official titles. So therefore, they would have had to come up with a different name for Saint.
They called him Sant.
Well, it makes sense since the daddy thinks he's God. Next, in New Zealand, you cannot use the Roman numeral 3, evidently. At first, when I saw this, I thought, oh, they named their baby Ill. But no, 3.
Ill would be awesome because then, yes, we were licensed to ill. Our dog was licensed to ill. Yes, he is
From
licensed.
what it says
Licensed to
here, I
ill.
think they would have allowed. I think they would have allowed ill.
Yeah.
If they had been
Yeah,
ill,
they would have allowed. They would have allowed ill. They would have allowed them to spell out THREE. No Roman numerals.
Yeah, so they should have just named their baby Ill, because traditionally you capitalize the first letter and the second two letters would have been lowercase. And it would have looked like 3 every time the kid wrote out his name.
Let's just bounce here a little bit.
Yeah.
Apparently, New Zealand, they tried to name their child period, not the word, the dot.
Just the dot.
Which they would have pronounced full stop.
Yeah. In
Japan, apparently somebody tried to name their child. It was water and child together, but previous generations used this combination of symbols for stillbirth.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah.
So, and once they told the parents that, they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to fight you. We changed the name, yes.
Thank you.
Scrotum.
In Sonora, Mexico. These names were rejected by the government. RoboCop, Facebook, and as Mike said, scrotum. Who's going to fight RoboCop in the school parking lot? You know, it's not going to happen.
With his luck, he'll go to school and there'll be some kid. What was the name of the other thing? MK 7200 or whatever.
Yeah.
No. So apparently, Tom is bad in Portugal. You can't just name him Tom. You'd have to name him Tomas, and then you call him Tom.
You can't use nicknames or alternate spellings. So everybody has to have a Portuguese name, and it has to be spelled correctly.
Oh my goodness! So many people couldn't name their child. Do you know how many Destinies that end in an I, and Jennifers with 1 N or 2 N or 4 N's we have? Oh man, what a world we'd live in if every Chris was CH instead of some of them having that stupid K.
Yeah.
Or to your point.
Yeah, they're good things. There would be Collins out there that would not be ridiculed for having 2 L's in their name for no reason.
Yeah, there wouldn't be an MYQ Mike. It'd just be MIKE.
So, to your point, you go a little further down the list. Apparently, in Denmark, parents get a list of 7,000 pre-approved names that they can choose from, or else they have to request permission. Somebody tried to name their child Molly, Molli, and it was rejected because of the I. They also tried to name the other twin Monkey. That was rejected for obvious reasons.
Well, don't name your child after a date rape drug.
In the comments here, it also says the country also rejected naming a child Anus.
Well, that's okay. There's 82 pages of names that have been banned in Portugal, mainly because they're non-Portuguese names. For example, Thor, Nirvana, and Paris are included on the list.
In Switzerland, brand names are not allowed, so Mercedes and Chanel cannot be named. Now, my question is, what if, out of spite, someone were to name their child, or someone was to start a company named Michael? Does that mean that no child could be named Michael ever again?
Mm-hmm.
No, because they probably wouldn't allow that to be used as a company name.
Apparently in Germany, you can't name your child Lucifer. I wonder if you could call him Adolf.
No. Definitely not.
Well, that's okay. In Malaysia, you can't name them anything similar. You're frowned upon naming them anything that sounds like nature. So such as animals or fruits. So no apple or violet or daisy. So nothing flower related either.
Here's another one tying us back to aliens.
So
in
in
Switzerland,
Iceland, there was actually a girl named Harriet because she was born in the UK, but she had dual citizenship. So she tried to get a Icelandic passport, but that would not allow her to use the name Harriet. So her passport is Stuka, and which basically is girl. So in her other country of Iceland, she's named Girl instead of Harriet.
Switzerland, check this one out. They're going back to aliens.
Hold on, let Mike go.
Going back to aliens here, they tried to name their child J, as in Agent J, and it was not allowed. One letter. I don't understand.
Furthermore,
this,
for Icelanders, do you know the Icelandic alphabet does not have the letter C?
Yes.
So therefore, there are not any names that start with C in the entire country. The former mayor of Reykjavik called it an unfair, stupid law against creativity when he wanted to name his daughter Camilla.
A mother in Wales thought that naming their child cyanide would be okay because that was the drug that killed Hitler. Therefore, had a positive aura around it. Naming your child after a poison, there is no positive spin to that.
No. Germany rejects last names used as first names. So therefore, when a couple tried to register their child as first name of Schmitz, they were told no.
Okay, so there's a couple in here that are from the States. Some were like, you can't have numbers. Jose is technically an issue in California because he can't have the mark, but they're trying to fix that. But the best one here is from Hawaii. So someone was named Tallulah does the Hulu. And when she was 9 years old, she complained about, she wanted her name changed. She went to family court, and her parents lost custody of her because the judge was so profoundly concerned about their poor judgment.
Well, that makes sense.
So,
wait a minute. No.
Yeah.
This actually was in New Zealand, Colin. This was not the States. The full name of the girl was Tallulah Does the Hula from Hawaii. That was her full name.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah. I got this wrong. I thought it was I saw New Zealand there, and I thought that the name was okay. Got it.
But that makes it even more absurd.
Yes, a girl in New Zealand named when Tallulah Does the Hulu from Hawaii. Yes. It's so bad it was unable to be understood the first time I read it. Now, I would assume that the parents ended up getting her back at some point after that, but they did. She got a guardianship arranged so she could legally change her name. But I don't know what happened after that. That was in 2008.
And I guess we can just go ahead and say we'll mention it one time that today the Electoral College officially certified that Joe Biden won the election.
That's right. They did.
So that is all the politics I want to talk about today, but that's not going to happen because we also have our favorite Orange Oompa Loompa doing something that I don't know where the hell this came from, but he signed an executive order that makes Christmas Eve a federal holiday this year.
Mm-hmm.
He signs this like literally less than 30 days from the day. The logistics of this is why like the post office is scrambling now saying, No, you got to get your cards in the mail by tomorrow because we're not going to be here on Christmas Eve now.
One of the busiest days for sending for the post office, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, this is.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this brings
so
up.
the timing is horrible. We'll all agree the timing is horrible. This should have went into effect 2021. Okay. Now, okay. So let's regardless of timing, is making Christmas Eve a federal holiday good or bad? Let's just answer that question. Is it a good idea or bad idea? We only have 10 federal holidays.
Okay, so if my choices are only good or bad, now I'm kind of in the minority here because I have never held a federal job. Right? I've never been so this would never have an effect on me. But I don't understand why all of a sudden.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I know why all of a sudden. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. Not much gets done, except for, like Mike said, the post office. There's a few things that actually get done. I'm sure that the Internal Revenue Service starts gearing up, and there's other things that start getting done. But right now, the 10 federal holidays, for those of you that maybe aren't in the U.S., New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now Christmas Eve. Okay, so those are the federal holidays. Now, not all companies take off all those federal holidays. Obviously, there's tons of places that are open on a lot of those days. So just because it's federal doesn't mean that even state governments close on those days. It is typically that they do.
It is a safe bet that if it's a federal holiday, that it's going to become a bank holiday.
Yes.
Which means
that could cause issues, though, because banks can't be closed for 3 days simultaneously in a row.
Correct.
So, considering that that's 2 days, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now, depending upon how the calendar lines up, if you were to make, say, the following day, the day after Christmas, a Sunday, that could create an issue.
I was thinking from, like, the stock market. Like, so is Wall Street going to shut down now?
That's a good question. I don't know if Wall Street closes on all federal holidays or not.
But here's the problem. See, so they're also called bank holidays. Those are the ones where, like, Wall Street shuts down and stuff. And in much of the world, Christmas is a 2-day banking holiday. So this is not anything weird. The problem is that it's not Christmas Eve. It's the day after Christmas, otherwise known as Boxing Day. Yeah. So a lot of the rest of the world, especially Canada, United Kingdom, Bahamas, Nigeria, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, they all have a banking holiday where they shut down the day after Christmas. So if we match them and say the day after Christmas is a holiday, that would make sense. That would bring us in line with a lot of the other big stock markets.
By the way, other than Veterans Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and Good Friday, the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ exchanges follow the federal government's holiday schedule for closings. So the answer is yes. So they would fall in line with this change if they were to follow typical.
So, and it's quite possible they're not going to do it this year and fall in line next year. I don't understand how does he have the authority to do this? That's the other question. To make this a federal holiday. I mean, or is this a federal holiday in the sense of like how 9/11 became?
By the way, I should mention for full transparency that the stock market does close early. They have a partial holiday on Black Friday and Christmas Eve already.
Yeah. I think this executive order just tells federal employees not to come in.
Well, it does, but it doesn't, actually. All executive departments and agencies of the federal government shall be closed and their employees excused from duty on Thursday the 24th, 2020, the day before Christmas. The executive order does make an exception, however, for the heads of executive departments and agencies who may determine that certain offices and installations of the organization or parts thereof must remain open. So it's not a blanket everybody. Just like everything else,
Right.
for reasons of national security, defense, or public need, the offices may remain open. This effectively creates a 4-day weekend to celebrate the holiday on this Christmas Eve. It was previously thought the president would give federal employees a half a day off on Thursday, as that was what President Obama and President Clinton did when Christmas fell on a Friday. So there is, to some degree, a standing order for this, but not the entire day. And actually, they didn't create it as a perpetual holiday.
Okay, so this was a one-time thing, parting gift kind of thing.
Well,
this apparently is just standard practice. So I'm not even sure why this is getting any coverage in the news.
Because
this is
you got to ask that question?
no, I'm just saying this is not even worth talking about. This is just Christmas is on Saturday, so we're getting Friday.
Yeah. Well, no, Christmas is on Friday.
Hmm?
The 25th is a Friday.
Okay, maybe
Traditionally, yes. If the holiday is on a weekend, then we get the previous work day off. But this is Christmas is out on a Friday.
Okay, I know what this is then. This article I just read.
So, but what Colin is saying is traditionally, yes, if there is a federal holiday on, say, a Saturday, then we get the preceding Friday off. That is correct.
He has also apparently he did this in 2018 and 2019 as well.
Yes.
So it is kind of common practice for him. But then everybody's also asking if it's that easy for him to just sign an executive order to make something a federal holiday, why didn't he make Election Day a federal holiday? That's the big
that's the big bookend to this, right? Which there has been a growing movement among some to make that, everybody normally we always complain about voter turnout, right? That compared to other countries which have democracy, we have a traditionally low voter turnout as a percentage of our population, right? And they said, well, one of the reasons why is because in those other countries, Election Day is a holiday, right? They realize the significance of Election Day and they want to promote citizen involvement in Election Day, and so therefore they make it a holiday so that their citizens have the ability to vote. And everyone has said, well, why shouldn't the U.S. do the same thing if we're truly excited and involved and we want participation from our citizens?
And it really, really aggravates me when people talk about the record voter turnout this year and how both candidates received a record number of votes and we had the largest participation. Okay, this is true. I'm not going to deny that. But it's also because how many states forced mail-in voting? A lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm not going to do vote by mail because it's too much of a hassle for me to register this, that, the other thing." New Jersey, you didn't have a choice. We had record turnouts in Jersey because every single registered voter had to vote by mail.
Well,
Now,
when you say had to vote, they didn't have to turn it in. They could have just thrown it in the trash.
True.
That
is true.
They did enable.
But-
They mass enabled a larger population to take part in the process and made it easier for people to take part in the process.
Now, that is my point, and I do agree with it. What I don't agree with is when folks say there was the largest turnout ever, in part because of one of the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not the situation at all. Make something easy, people will do it. Okay?
Yes.
Now, that doesn't necessarily
Exactly.
mean that it is more. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of saying it's a higher potential for fraud because you made it easy. No, not necessarily. I'm not going to say yes or no to that. I'm going to say if you want people to be involved, make it easy. We've been complaining for years that we don't have the voter turnout, all right, that people aren't involved in their democracy. So we saw what happened when we made it easier for people to get involved. I'm not going to say whether the result was the way that you wanted it or the way that you didn't want it. You cannot bitch that people got involved about it. All right. Nobody should complain that more people turned out or more people, cast a vote, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give a damn.
Yes.
And yes, that can rock the boat of what the norm has been. For sure, that can change things. Because when you suddenly have people involved that have not historically been involved, it's going to shake things up. And whether that's for right or wrong.
My other concern is that because it was such a high turnout, people are going to say that this should be the norm from now on. And many, many folks are not going to stand for that. I think in the years when it is not a presidential election, like next year, when pretty much you're voting for your local, maybe Congress, maybe in off years when it is non-presidential, I do not think that vote by mail is going to be you're not going to have as much of a turnout as you did for a presidential election. That's always been the case, and I think it will still be the case.
I agree. You're absolutely right. When the stakes aren't as high,
people will be more apt to take that ballot and throw it in the trash if it is not a presidential election.
Yeah, which is a shame because in reality, change happens at the local level more so than at the national level. If people really are honest about it, your local elections matter more to you personally than anything at the top. Just when you look at your circle of influence, that's also where your vote matters the most. It's because there's a much smaller pool. So to Mike's point, I would say don't become, disenchanted with the voting process just because it's not for the major offices. All right. Again, that's where I think it matters more. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's true.
Well, I think if we keep the same level of access to vote by mail, and it is easy for people to vote by mail, I'm really interested to see what the voting turnout is going to be in 2 years.
If you make it a choice.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how it was in Illinois. In New Jersey, it was mandatory. The exception was if you were disabled, you were allowed to go and vote at the poll, which doesn't make any sense. And that was a big bone of contention here. Okay, so somebody in a wheelchair can go and vote at the poll, but somebody that has health issues can go and vote at the voting booth, but everybody else can't. If you don't make it mandatory, that's where I think the big distinction is going to be.
Yeah, and I
don't know if anybody else made it mandatory.
I think just giving people that option, making sure that more people are aware of that option, making it a method by which is more normal. Because I will say, before this year, I don't remember anyone highly talking up the vote by mail option, the absentee ballot option. I don't remember people bringing that up as, hey, this is an alternative to going to the polling place. I think if we continue to see that as a viable option, again, Mike, now in your situation is probably a little bit different where it was forced on everybody because nobody likes that at all. But if we continue to see that as an option, hopefully we'll still see a larger percentage of people being involved in it. And I don't think that's ever a bad thing. Okay. More people having a say so, I don't think can ever be bad.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree that the more people that are involved with the process, the better the process works. I mean, as far as representing the people, I'm all for that.
Yeah, which made me a little bit upset. I guess I will take a slight. Did anyone see the story about the Georgia representative who wants to introduce a constitutional amendment in Georgia to essentially remove the citizen vote and make it a legislature vote for president?
That
There's a lot of stupid stuff going on right now.
I know, but this one, and normally this one I would say is ridiculous speculation by some, wackadoo person in charge. But as I read it, this was actually the president of the Senate.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying there were. I mean, you go to the Attorney General in Texas who wants to secede from the Union. I mean, you have high level craziness going across the nation here. I mean, it is just rampant craziness. Yeah. All their stories that the Texas guy is probably just trying to get a pardon. To answer your question, which we didn't answer, Mike, in Illinois, we had the choice of mail-in voting, early voting, or voting on the day. There was nothing. Okay. We were not a state that had. Well, I guess. I guess we did get automatic mail-in ballot applications.
Yes, we got applications sent to everyone.
Yeah. We didn't get applications. We got mail-in ballots. Period. Right. In fact, they even shut down. They shut down many of the polling sites because they weren't needed. So they consolidated. Like normally we have, I'm going to say 12 in my town. I could be wrong, but we only had 4.
So that was Vermont, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Montana, but there was a per county opt-in on that. Colorado, Utah, Nevada, California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii. Those were all the states that just automatically sent ballots out. I don't know about those other states if it was mandatory that you had to use the ballot, but those were the states that did that.
I don't think they could make it mandatory that you could use the ballot, but they would proactively send it out. I don't think we have any laws on the books that say you must vote.
Apparently, yes. The only states that required an excuse to do a mail-in ballot was Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Indiana.
Right.
And the only swing one that did the automatic ballots was Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, it's just
anyway. Yeah, I'm going to see. It's going to be interesting in 2 years to see if the full access to mail-in voting continues, or do we have a whole bunch of states deciding no because our candidate lost, or yes because our candidate won? I don't know.
Well,
it's going to be
that's going to be a big that's going to be a big question. Like I know for a fact in New Jersey that Governor Murphy is going to push to. I shouldn't say for a fact. It is my strong opinion that he is going to push to do mail-in ballots permanently because, and listen, I have seen every version, every spin of the conspiracy theory about mail-in voting here. I do know for a fact that there was an issue with provisional ballots in the last local election because the bags at the polling locations were not sealed. Therefore, provisional ballots were not counted. They were disqualified. So there is a whole our town has every right to question elections at this point because there's actual lawsuits going on as a result of the last mayoral election. I do not see it going well. And to be completely honest with you, I think he's flubbing up so much with the way he's handling the pandemic that as far as lockdowns and businesses getting closed and what have you, and just his general handling of trying to keep the spread minimal, I don't see him getting reelected.
Yeah, but I think anyone who is in a position right now where they are making the shots as far as what businesses open, what businesses close, what activities are available, what aren't. They are in an enviable position because no matter, I'm going to be completely honest, no matter what they do, they are going to be wrong. There is no right course of action because they're not going to make you cannot make everyone happy with this. All right. And they are going to live with whatever the political repercussions or anything are, with their decisions. Trust me, I have seen some of the toil that it's taken on just the legislators here about, what's going on. And it's pretty, graphic. You see those pictures of like presidents when they start their term versus when they end their term and how rough how much it aged them. And I think we can get some of those, for the pandemic as well, because some people aren't, this is hard on people. And so, trust me, I wouldn't want to be in their position, which is one of many reasons why I never go into politics.
So I just sent the link to you guys, and I'm not surprised by the announcement. I'm surprised by the timing of the announcement that Attorney General Barr is resigning and will be vacating the office before Christmas.
I'm not surprised.
That was about an hour or so before the show started. Yep.
Yeah. It just popped up in my timeline. I guess I don't follow a whole lot here. I also saw that. I also saw that. Apparently, there's a growing case to recall Governor Newsom out in California. And Shaggy, this ties directly to what you were saying as far as how he has handled this lockdown. I think the two things that are really fueling it right now, one, when he was telling his constituents in California to stay home and avoid social gatherings, he was caught out having dinner with his family and friends. Mm-hmm. The other is a video that went viral last week of a small business that spent a ton of money to set up an outdoor dining area in accordance with the governor's orders, and then be told that it was going to be shut down. Meanwhile, 50 feet away in the parking lot, Hollywood movie set, Craft Services with the exact same setup was being set up to go into operation that day. So she was being given the message that her outdoor seating was dangerous, but Craft Services tents were not.
Oh, yeah.
And I think even though I get the behind-the-scenes part where there's a lot more testing going on and a lot more isolation and quarantining and controlled contact on a movie set, because that's the way the regulations are set up. I get that. But perception is 90%.
Yeah. And don't get us wrong. We're definitely not defending all the politicians and everything. We're saying that they're doing everything right, because trust me, we're not. But we're also not saying that some of the businesses are doing everything right. There was a business here locally that flagrantly put up on Facebook, hey, we're not paying attention to what the mayor's saying, we're not paying attention to what the governor's saying, we're going to do it our way anyway, and then was shocked and appalled when their food handling license was pulled. When their health certificate was yanked, and then they went and they took them to court like 5 times and lost every single time, and then they had the gall to put out there, well, he's being a big meanie, and so now we have to close forever. No, you were given multiple opportunities. Not that being a small business is easy nowadays. I actually saw a restaurant opening, like starting their business, and I thought, what is wrong with you? This is not a good time to open a restaurant. This is the worst time.
Well, when you think about it, actually, if you open under these conditions and pretty much you do limited hours, and it's pretty much, let's just say, like a family-run business, right? So you stay open for breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner. You don't do a full 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. day. It might not be a bad idea. The interest rates are so low that you could get startup capital a lot cheaper. You know, the cost of money is lower right now. Let's be honest. There are all kinds of grants and what have you that you could probably sneak in and get as far as small business opportunities due to COVID. And you know the environment you're in. You're not adapting to something.
I guess.
If anything, you're going to ramp up once restrictions are lifted. So you can manage your expense, like a restaurant opening up and you start to get your name out there because you're only doing takeout and curbside during COVID. And guess what? You're offering a great value. You get your name out there, people are going to remember that. And when you do open up, they're going to want to come see you, come meet you, come sit and support you.
I guess.
One thing they did around here, Mike, I'm not sure about New Jersey, but around here, they made a modification to the liquor licenses that basically said, oh, you want to make cocktails? Well, you can come and get your food to go and take your cocktail too.
Yeah, cocktails to go.
Yes.
Drive-through bars.
So they did that. It's not really publicized as much anymore because people realized it was actually more of a pain in the ass. A lot of the restaurants that I saw that were doing it it was more that they were doing, it was like the ethnic restaurants, like they were doing pitchers of sangria to go. And they were just putting them in like 2-quart containers, like Chinese food containers, right? The problem was when people were coming to pick them up, there was no easy way to transport them. So I think a lot of the places just said, you know what, we're getting too many complaints, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
A lot of places around here are brew pubs, so they already have growlers and stuff.
So it's funny you talk about that. So there was a couple of things. First was a lot of these bars / restaurant that serve food, they would only sell like packaged goods, like bottles and cans that they would normally serve at the bar. They would sell that to go if you ordered food. The growlers, I don't know how it is there, but in New Jersey, they are only allowed to fill a growler that has their logo on it. So in other words, you have to buy the growler from the brew pub initially, and then they can refill it. You can't take one from, say, brew pub A and then take it to brew pub B and have them refill it. They can't legally do that, which I think is kind of silly, but...
Yeah, I don't think we have a law on that. It does feel like not the common courtesy to take a different brew pub's growler to another one and have it filled there, but I think you can actually just buy your own growlers and have no logo on it and filled too. Yeah, and here,
see, Jersey, you can't do that. You can't. The way the law is written, you can't buy a growler from, just a generic growler and bring it and have it filled. It has to have their logo on it. Now, I suppose someone who thinks that they're a business could possibly cut out the brew pub's logo out of vinyl on their pre-cut and slap it on a generic logo and say, here you go. Slap it on a generic growler. The one brew pub by us actually started doing what they called crowlers, where they were 32-ounce cans that they could fill on the spot, which I thought was pretty neat. Apparently, we have an offer to buy followers on Twitch.
I don't. They're going to buy some of our followers. I don't know that we have that many to sell, but depending upon what the exchange rate is, I don't know. Can you look that up on some currency exchange website for me, Colin? What's the follower to purchase exchange rate on Twitch? I personally, I think that's probably illegal in the U.S. to buy people, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Speaking of things along those lines, Mike, there's word that Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn is not going to be happy with the city of Cleveland.
Neither is Pedro Serrano
No.
or Jake Taylor or Roger Dorn. They're all going to be
Or
they're all going to be
Tanaka.
very, very upset. Tanaka.
You know,
They're all going to be very upset because apparently the Cleveland Indians, after 105 years, have finally given in.
Willie Mays
And
Hayes. Lou Brown's got to
Uecker.
be. Yeah, Bob Euchre. Ugh. You know,
Listen, they're changing their name.
Parkman will be
Finally,
happy,
they're-
but that's about it.
They're going to change their name from the Indians because it's apparently offensive. They've changed their logo. They got rid of the Chief Wahoo last year because he was offensive. They changed their logo to just a giant capital C because, you know, the red-faced Indian was offensive.
Are they
They're
going to
not
follow
gonna
suit with the Washington and to just be called the Cleveland baseball team?
So
Like
apparently,
the Washington football team?
yeah. So this year they are not. The plan is they are not going to change their name for this season because I guess it's too late to do that, or they're not going to change. Is baseball going on right now? I mean, are they? No, I don't even know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they play baseball in the wintertime. I think that's a spring,
Who
summer
the hell
sport.
knows at this point? Who knows? Hey,
It's-
Rona, baby.
It's 2020.
It
They
could
could be. I don't know.
They could be. They could be playing. They could be playing. They could call it snowball. I don't know. Listen. Apparently, they're not going to do it for the upcoming season because it's too late. They feel to actually change the name, but there is talk that they could go with the Cleveland baseball team in the interim. Which
Yeah, just like the Washington football team.
this is the dumbest thing ever. The Washington football team. They should have just changed their colors and been the Sentinels.
Some of the best ideas going around are spiders or rockers. The Cleveland Naps.
The Rockers could work because, you know, they could use the Drew Carey song, all the little chicks with the crimson lips and Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks.
You're going to get us another copyright. The Cleveland Fellers.
Okay, well, here, let me really mess them up. All the little chicks with the Cleveland ears and the Cleveland rocks.
Oh, no. The Cleveland
What?
Blue Sox. Like, we need more sock teams. We don't need any more sock teams. The Cleveland Cuyahogas.
What?
I'm
How is
going.
that not offensive to somebody?
I don't know. The Cleveland Great Lakers. The Cleveland Unions. The Cleveland Blues. The Cleveland
I think
Cinders.
No, I think they should just call themselves the Cleveland Nondescript Gender Nonspecific Team.
The Cleveland Castles. The
Cleveland It's.
The Cleveland
ITS,
Hazards.
the Cleveland It's.
Oh, here we go. The Cleveland Buckeyes. You know.
Yeah.
Colin, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it.
I have the perfect name for them.
Okay.
What?
The Cleveland Wild Things.
No. They should just. I got it. They should just go with Cleveland and just have a picture of Cleveland from Family Guy.
How about the Clevelands?
It's offensive to butchers everywhere.
It's really just getting so it, you know, along the lines like we talk about political correctness, okay? And I don't know. I don't know how much further we can get politically correct, but there's an NHL team out there, the Vancouver Canucks. And one of the goalies that got traded to that team in the offseason, they revealed his mask. Now, goalie masks are very personalized. Like the guys work, the goalies work with artists to create. I mean, they're beautiful when you look at them, and the amount of detail that goes into them is crazy. So, Braden Holtby, when he got traded, he is sponsored by an equipment company that one artist exclusively paints all of the masks. And he painted it with a indigenous people's from like a thunderbird from
Like a phoenix.
the indigenous people's,
Mythos.
myths or whatever you want to call it. People got so angry with this guy because he is from the Netherlands, the artist, and he did not consult with anybody of that ethnicity before painting this mask to get the true story or the true feeling about it. Wouldn't you know that the goalie gave in to pressure? He took down the Instagram post where he debuted the mask, and he apologized, and he said, I'm going to have it redone by a native artist. At first, I was like, well, good for him. But then I'm like, so what you're saying is if I draw something, I am only allowed to draw white people things because I cannot be inspired. Right? Yeah. And what does that mean exactly? I mean, I could draw Lithuanian things, I guess, because my great-great-great-grandfather was from Lithuania. I don't know what that entails. I'd have to look it up. I don't know what the number one export of Lithuania is. With my luck, it's probably maggots or some crap. Go ahead, Shaggy. Tell me what it is, because I don't know.
No, I'm looking up what are stereotypical white people things. I'm trying to figure out what you could possibly draw. And weirdly enough, Google doesn't have the answer for what are white people things. But wait, hold on. We can go to Boston.com and they have a list of 10 things white people like. So here, so they like the movie Juno. And they like
Elliot Page?
Yes. And they like coffee. So evidently coffee is a white thing. Yoga. White people, suburban moms like yoga.
Okay, so far I'm drawing Elliot Page doing yoga while sipping a latte from Starbucks.
Fresh out of her Toyota Prius.
Okay. On top of a hybrid car.
Okay. Somewhere there's got to be an expensive sandwich.
That's okay. So in the other hand, she's got a $5 footlong.
Somewhere we like the idea of soccer. That's what it says. We white people will tell you that they are very into soccer.
All right, so she can be wearing
vintage
a Galaxy jersey,
and we're into vintage, an old Galaxy jersey. We like assistants. When you say the word assist, the first thing you think about is Steve Nash and Wayne Gretzky, but white people love to pass. I don't know what that means.
So,
okay, so
and modern furniture. We love modern furniture, and San Francisco.
She's doing all of this in front of IKEA.
Yeah,
but it happens to white people things too. Okay, so there actually is a story I didn't put up, so in one of the marches this week last week in D.C., there were some Proud Boys wearing kilts that were yellow and black, and they came from this company called like Veritas or something like that here in the U.S. And that company was on Twitter going, this was a nightmare for them that their great black and yellow kilts were being worn and being shown on national media. So this thing came up on Twitter. It's like we started seeing these. They're not kilts; they're pleated skirts, and that's a national. We're people in Scotland going, "That's our national dress. You can't call them kilts." And it's like, oh, okay. So if you're not Scottish, you can't wear a kilt because that's you're being bad to Scotland. So this entire thing is this whole thing. I actually completely understand it at the Native Americans. I mean, look, they were here first, and we came over and plowed them over. Okay, so that I can see that. Okay,
Yeah.
Same thing when people like get tattoos of Pacific
Barbed wire.
Islander and the tribal tattoos and stuff. And you just look at that going, it's the equivalent of wearing shirts with Chinese characters on it that say like dumb white person made me make this shirt or stuff like that. Just it's that level of thing.
So what you're saying is cultural appropriation is bad.
I'm saying some cultural appropriation is bad, but the idea
all of a sudden,
saying,
Colin is talking about this, and I'm saying to myself, Jesus Christ, I have to go and make an appointment after the new year and get this goddamn tattoo on the back of my neck covered up because I have a fucking Chinese character that I have culturally appropriated thanks a lot to alcohol in Las Vegas.
Well, at least those are white people.
Son
things.
of a...
No, I'm saying I can see the point, but I think it's getting a little bit overblown. I think people have an extremely valid point when they complain about a big corporation like Disney, for example, and Disney has to step very carefully.
Okay,
but for this, like, some goalie putting it's just
All right.
Well, let me just
ahead.
throw this out here. Lithuania. So apparently, I can draw oil and mineral fuels. I could draw industrial machinery. I could draw furniture. Wood.
All right.
They export $1 billion in wood every year. Wood.
Okay. I think we can. So
I think we beat this horse to death, and I think it's time to move on.
I just want to mention one thing. So in my research of Google and stuff white people like, I found that someone actually wrote a book called
That's ridiculous.
Stuff White People Like, A Definitive Guide to the Unique Tastes of Millions. But what I find funny is that in the frequently bought together, okay, this item, stuff white people like, whiter shades of pale, stuff white people like coast to coast, from Seattle sweaters to Maine something. And then the book, How to Be Black.
I can't.
No.
I can't. There's just no.
That's an interesting cross-section, Amazon. Thank you for your suggestions. But as we move along, it is now 7:30, and Central Time, 8:30 Eastern. So we move on to the only real recurring segment on our entire show right now. For over 3 years, we've been telling you what movies to watch and what movies to skip by, as Netflix, Amazon, and other streaming services tell you, hey, you watched this, so you may like this. For those of you that are a little bit unfamiliar with this, this all started from the fact that I watched Cowboys versus Aliens one day, a very big blockbuster film. And then when I was sick a couple weeks later, Netflix thought, and my, high temperature brain thought, why not? Let's watch Cowboys versus Dinosaurs, because that's what's recommended. And so we took it upon ourselves then to start letting Netflix, Amazon, and the like decide what we watch from here on out, and let you know if there happen to be any streaming gems out there in the interweb. And as it's December, we have restricted ourselves to the Christmas theme. So last week we had a couple of films. We won't call them great films. We'll just call them films. And this week it's much the same. We have another couple of interesting films. We have A Bad Mom's Christmas and Operation Christmas Drop. So, Mike, which one would you like to start with first?
We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to do A Bad Mom's Christmas.
A Bad Mom's Christmas. And, Mike, we will actually start off with you.
Okay. Full disclosure. We are breaking a rule of ours with this movie, because this is a sequel, and I do not recall. Now I'm thinking about it. Did we review Bad Moms?
No, we didn't.
We did not. So we're breaking our own rule here, but that's okay. because they're hot. Where you find a camel there is a lot of colorful language in this movie. I'm not even 10 minutes in and I'm thinking that this is if I didn't know better, I'd think I was watching Andrew Dice Clay in his prime. Because I've heard about 17 F-bombs in the first 15 minutes. Half of them were by a 10-year-old. Y'all see this scene in the mall where kids is running all over like a bunch of drunken midgets? And then the moms go to get drunk in the food court. There are two reasons why I hate kids in malls in New Jersey. All right. The first one, they don't sell beer at the food court. Second of all, that is how kids act. I am pretty sure that if Kim's mom or my mom snuck into the bedroom while Kim and I was having sexy time, there'd be grounds for divorce. There would be no questions about it. There'd be grounds for divorce. And now I want to play trampoline dodgeball. Can we put that on the list when we eventually, in this decade, get together? Hopefully before one of us is in danger of breaking a hip. I want to know if anyone else got a little uncomfortable during the Santa waxing scene. Or was it just me? Leave that out there. You guys can just comment yes or no. Look, I get kind of annoyed with movies when the storyline goes, I hate you. We're getting along better. My God, you are evil. I love you so much. This is like Hallmark style storyline right here, and I don't like it. When they're fighting in the house, I gotta love some of the things that Christine Baranski's character is yelling out. Those were from the Titanic, and that was moon ice. You want to talk about pretentious shit right there. Kiki head pajamas. I know where y'all can get PJs like that with your face on them for your friends. Santa shows up and says, this dance is not going to be kid appropriate. I know this right off the bat. Listen, I did not need the dance montage thing at the end. We were getting along so well. So puke to Shnikes. This is not going into the Christmas movie rotation at Butterstown. But I'll give it a smirk. This is a good one to put on during a holiday party. Kind of like if Santa Claus comes to town and had a love child with The Hangover. You know what I'm saying? So if you got that kind of crowd and there's a lot of drinking going on, then this is a good one to keep in the background. Otherwise, a lot of not safe for work stuff in this one.
All right, Colin, you're up next, and then I'll finish it up.
Okay. So yeah, this is a sequel to a movie we've never seen. More importantly, a movie I'll probably never see. But I will say this movie is very obviously not aimed towards three middle-aged white guys. Okay? So just that right off the bat. Now, I will say there are several excellent actresses. I mean, yeah, anything that has Susan Sarandon in it's going to be good. At least acceptable. And everybody in this movie, I think, did a great job. That being said, this is not a movie that's aimed towards me. I laughed a couple times. I was mostly bored. You kind of, I don't think it quite resolved well. There is two sets of moms in this movie. There's a younger set, and then there's their moms. And I don't think there was a good enough connection. I think they're trying to force more of a connection between the older moms than there really was actually in the script. And I think the kind of scene where you have like the three of them forced together in some part of it would have been helpful. I don't know. I am going to give this movie a smirk instead of a meh. I think it was an acceptable movie. I don't find myself ever wanting to watch it again.
All right. Okay, so that is now my turn. Okay, so like the other two said, this is a sequel to Bad Moms, which I have not watched yet, but it is going to be on my viewing list. You know, as much as Colin said, this wasn't up his alley. This is up my alley. All right, this is my kind of Christmas movie. All right, this is, and for Mike to say this is a Hallmark-style movie, if this was a Hallmark-style movie, I'd watch more Hallmark-style movies. All right?
No. That's not what I said.
This was a funny movie that I laughed many times through, which is difficult because I watched it today while I was also on conference calls for work. So inexplicable laughter at poor times doesn't work out well. But this was a great movie. And I have some examples of why this is a great movie. So here are just a few lines that Colin he may have chuckled at a couple of these, but I guarantee he cringed more than he chuckled. So here are the lines. Then you punched the wall and screamed the F word. You played the game 7 times. Well, it was really 6.5, but who's counting? Let's go slap some wieners, bitch. You're not allowed to smoke a cigarette in here. That's okay. It's not a cigarette. Was that a broken dick on her face? You should never have to watch your mom lick your boyfriend's nipples. Thanks for almost learning his name. And I feel like it's better if I do it through the universal language of dance. All right. If you want context for any of those lines, this is the movie for you. Not that some of them even need context. But this movie has a lot of funny people in it. All right. And even the people that normally play straight are funny in this movie. The only downside that I will give this movie, and I understand why they did it, is I really wanted Magnum P.I. in this movie more. All right. They basically used him as a prop piece. And I think that I would have liked to have seen him in this a little bit more than what he was actually in this. So that's really my only complaint. So with everything that I love about this movie, it's going to get a shnikes from me because my wife actually asked me, what movies do we have on the list? And I had forgotten that this movie was on. And now I'm going to make her watch this movie. So that for me is a shnikes movie when I'm going to force my wife to watch it.
All right, so let me just say, I have seen the first one.
Oh, okay.
I had seen this one before as well. Your complaint about Magnum P.I., Jay Hernandez, not being in this enough, not the issue in the first one.
Great.
He's in it a lot more. In the first one, Christina Applegate is in it a lot more. But you don't have any of the moms.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Right?
I didn't even realize. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Christina Applegate was just a bit part in this one, right? She was just
kind of had a
coworker
cameo
or something.
during the caroling.
Okay. Boy, she looks different. Okay. All right. So the next movie that we have up is Operation Christmas Drop. And we will go in the same order. So, Mike, we will go to you first.
All right. So I am used to seeing the captain in Vikings, where he plays Bjorn Ironsides, son of Ragnar Lothbrok. I'm curious to see how his acting chops are in a modern / romantic / non-Viking setting. Her boss is sending her away for Christmas. That sounds like a job I'm going to stay at and a career path I want to be on. I noticed 3 things about the guy's Jeep right away. 1, there's no rear view mirror. Very common in TV driving, movie driving, and y'all are going to notice it from now on. 2, there's no passenger side mirror. 3, no spare tire. Now, 1 and 2 I can almost see, but the 3rd one, nobody with a lifted Jeep Wrangler is going to drive around with no spare tire. That's a fact. And he left his keys in the Jeep. Listen, that jumpsuit's got pockets, dude. Take the keys out the Jeep. This chick just gave away her designer Gucci bag, might be a Merkin, I don't know, and all of her stuff, and she's still going to try and shut them down. And it's something, Christmas, spam. That's a damn great idea right there. I love spam. Now the passenger side mirror is back on a Jeep. How is this not a continuity error on IMDb? Explain that to me. I'm not a fan, again, of the hallmark formula of movie making. But it's very clear that this movie is following that formula because these two is falling in love. And here he goes. You see, he's doing the Mike dance at the Christmas party, and she's doing the Elaine from Seinfeld. When did Bose get an Air Force contract to do the headsets for all of the pilots? I'm just curious. And this was actually based on a true story. Now, if I had known that going in, I might have been a little more interested and a little more lenient on the damn thing. This is going to get it's going to get a laugh, which is just the one above a smile. I originally had it at a smile, but once I found out this was based on a true story, and the guy that was working on the generator is actually the pilot that this story was based on, that kind of bumped it up a little bit. Maybe I missed where they said it was based on a true story, but I would like to know that earlier on.
Yep. All right, Colin, you're up next. You're muted. There you go.
Sorry, a lot of noise going on. So, just to correct slightly, so the Christmas drop is real. The base is real. The people are all fictional. So there was no actual... That was actually my biggest problem watching this movie. So the plot is that this congressional aide has been sent to try to pull up dirt to say that this base should be closed. Well, the problem is, this is Anderson Base. This is the base on Guam. Okay? So if you know anything about the U.S. military, this is almost like saying, hey, I need to close a base. I was thinking maybe we should close this base here in D.C. I think they call it the Pentagon. Closing this base that's in this movie is nearly the level of closing the Pentagon. This is an extremely important base. So the idea that anyone would even think about closing it is it's just insane. So I had some problems just kind of getting into the movie to begin with, just because it's like if they had made it more fictional, it had been better, because the plot line didn't make any sense. Now, let me take a step back here. I had high expectations for this movie because it's directed by Martin Wood. Now, for those who have not heard the name Martin Wood before, he is the co-producer of such important genre TV shows as Stargate SG-1, the other Stargates, Sanctuary, Travelers, and Jeremiah. I mean, he has been involved with lots of stuff. He's still J. Michael Straczynski, but he's done lots of shows. So I was thinking, oh, this looks interesting. So this is like one of the very first movies he's directed. He's mostly directed TV shows. So I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And what we got is Hallmark's paint by numbers movie. There's nothing surprising or of interest of this movie. There was a bit of emotion in the actual drop sequence. I thought so. That was something that moves it up a bit. I would say the ending of this movie is very weird because as a romance movie, having the end be okay, these two people that we decided to put together in this movie and say, oh, it's the romance. At the end of the movie, just they're on other sides of the world, and there's no continuation of any possibility of a relationship there. So you're looking at this going, okay. So this was a movie. The Christmas drop's a real thing. That's interesting. That's good to know. But as far as the plot line of the movie goes, it either A, didn't make any sense, or B, ended up not doing anything. They could have done some stuff. I mean, they could have had the, was it senator? I think the senator could have had more to do, so there was more character there. So you felt like you're happy in the end that she unscrooges. I don't know. It was a pretty movie. It was done on location, so it was nice to look at. But I think there was a lot of missed opportunities to have some more of a movie there. What it comes down to is someone saw a story about this Christmas drop that happens every year, and said, "Oh, here's an idea. Let's make a movie about this," and sold it to Netflix. And since Netflix is pouring money into anything for more content, this movie got made. I'm going to give it a smile because I at least felt some emotion to it. Hey, if you like Hallmark style movies, this might be one of the best Hallmark style movie that you'll see.
Okay. So I guess I'm up next. So here we go. Okay, so first off, just a slight correction. So Colin, you said no one in the movie was real or portrayed as real, or played themselves or whatever it was. It was a real individual involved in Christmas Drop. That's actually not totally true. Bruce Best, otherwise known as Brother Bruce, who showed up in the movie, was the guy who set up the solar panels and stuff like that. He actually is a real University of Guam researcher who's participated in the Operation Christmas Drop for 40 years, and he plays himself in this movie. So to add some legitimacy to the cast, they actually did have someone who was directly involved and has been for years involved in this. So when this movie first started, I, like Colin, sincerely doubted the legitimacy of closing the base on Guam. One of the most strategic bases that the United States has. It just doesn't make any sense. But fortunately, that actually sent me down the rabbit hole so that I knew that this was somewhat based around a true story. And yes, Operation Christmas Drop has been going on. It's one of the longest running. It is actually the longest running humanitarian aid programs, that the military, combines with. And when they talked about involving other countries in the drop, it's absolutely true. That does happen. And so with that kind of a lens on this movie, it does definitely, as Mike said, change the way that you look at this movie. So it is got the formula of a cheesy Hallmark movie. I also kind of likened it a little bit to McHale's Navy. I saw elements of that in there where we have this Hawaiian tropics-based base that's doing some military functions. And, the aristocracy or the typical military, view from Congress wants to shut down some of those things. So if you suspend the idea that they could potentially close Guam, then you can see where that kind of comes from. But in general, it's a bit of a Hallmark movie, and that's actually one of the reasons why I'm going to recommend that my wife watches it, is because she loves Hallmark movies. And like Mike, I was just bombarded by this movie in my Netflix queue, and it said, hey, you should watch this movie. I, like Colin, have some issues that it doesn't resolve itself like a typical Hallmark style movie, where you're left with these two individuals, which by all accounts have fallen in love over this common, joy and giveness of Christmas, and but they're going to go their separate ways, and it's not going to result in a happily ever after. I initially thought, well, maybe she'll become like the press secretary for the base or something like that, and leave her position with the congresswoman. But that's not the case. That's not how it all played out. So it's a very odd ending to the movie, other than the fact of you get to see, hey, this great captain who misses his family but knows what his duty is to the rest of the people on the surrounding islands. His family gets to come and visit him, which is always a nice part of the ending. But the movie in general, if you're used to Hallmark style movies, it's got good pace, it's got decent acting. I really hadn't seen a whole lot of people in previous work. I think it did well. Like Colin said, the shots are beautiful. I think they did some really good job on the filmography of this. So all in all, I think it's a decent movie, and it's one of those few Hallmark movies that I wouldn't mind watching with the wife. So I'm going to give this one a smile overall. So, all right.
I do want to just clarify that I did not say that Bad Moms Christmas was like a Hallmark movie. I said it was following the roller coaster emotional track that is a Hallmark trademark.
Okay. I wanted to know what Hallmark sub-channel that type of movie is on, because that's the only one that I want to watch.
Side note, the wife and I were watching a movie last night on Pop, not Hallmark, that we thought it was Hallmark, actually. Probably owned by the same company, but it was a Christmas movie. And it followed the Hallmark formula, all right. But this was the one that was apparently the first openly gay couple at the center of the movie.
You won't see that on the Hallmark channel. That's a sure sign. Occasionally, you will find friends of the main characters that might be a gay couple, but you won't find the main couple there. Now, they have gotten into the interracial. They've at least opened the door that way.
They did. This year, they have their first one.
What, Hallmark has a gay Christmas movie?
Yeah, it was called The Christmas House. It premiered November 22nd with a gay lead couple. I shudder to see what this search is going to do to my ads for the next little bit, but.
Huh.
What was this? I forget what the hell this one was called.
So not that we're not saying there's anything wrong with it. We're just saying it has not been a staple in a lot of Christmas movies. So, to see the
it's more Lifetime.
Yeah, it is. It's more Lifetime, more ABC Family, than it has been for Hallmark. But for Hallmark to step up and do one, that is.
Dashing in December. That was the one that we watched last night.
Oh, yeah. Boy, you're right. That Hallmark Channel won the Christmas House, November, with a replay on December 14th. Oh, wait, hold on, Colin, you misled.
What? This is good.
The Christmas House. Okay. For the first time in Hallmark's holiday movie history, a gay couple is in the mix. They are Brandon and Jake. And although they are nowhere near central to the plot, they're
that's not what they told the press beforehand.
They're ancillary characters. So they've had those before, or at least alluded to. Maybe they haven't seen the whole couple, but they definitely are not, they're not the main points.
According to this, I mean, this is the story that I'm reading here. The Christmas House chronicles Brandon and his husband Jake as they visit family during the holidays while awaiting a call about the adoption of their first child.
Well, this says
that's the plot is in the press before it came out.
this says they are nowhere near central to the plot, in which a TV actor returns home to help his parents and brother stage a family's show-stopping inside and out holiday decorations one last time and rekindles his boyhood romance with the girl next door.
Well, it's not like I watched it to make sure that
I at least want
to.
If they're gonna say this movie features a gay couple, then I want it to feature the gay couple. They shouldn't try and use a tertiary character relationship to try and get more viewers into the Hallmark Channel. They have enough as it is now. They turn out like 40 movies every Christmas season, with Candace Cameron Bure being in about half of them. I mean, they had to drop Lori Loughlin, so I don't know what they're going to do next year.
I don't know why they had to drop Lori Loughlin. I mean, what she got something going on?
Little thing.
Okay. All right. So our next. Oh God.
Yes, we've already set up our next show.
God help us.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be 2020 if we didn't do at least one shark movie. We're doing Santa Jaws.
Yes, Santa Jaws.
I've watched the trailer. It's looking good.
I have not watched the trailer. I want this to be a total surprise when the time comes, or nightmare, whatever you want to call it. Santa Jaws and Fat Man.
Fat Man,
I am excited for. Santa Jaws, there's gonna be drinking involved.
Well, I'm definitely going to be watching Santa Jaws first.
Yeah,
as you should.
I agree. I agree with that.
But I have so many better movies to watch Christmas Day, so that's going to have to wait until later.
No, I think you should bring the whole family around to watch Santa Jaws.
I have Wonder Woman, 1984 to watch.
Yeah. I have Wonder Woman. I have Soul, and I can't remember what else we have, but they've got a whole bunch of movies coming out that day.
Soul Plane? You're going to watch Soul Plane on Christmas?
No, Soul the new Pixar.
Is this the one? Is this the one where they project or they depict the before life as opposed to the afterlife, or something?
Yeah, he is in a coma and goes to the before time. Yeah.
Okay.
His true passion is jazz. When he travels to another realm to help someone find their passion, he soon discovers what it meant to have a soul. So it's a jazz movie.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
With music composed by Trent Reznor.
Somebody. All right. So before we wrap up, can we just talk about the movie remake revival that nobody asked for?
Yep.
Which is the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
2021. We've remade all of these movies. 2021. Nobody. Again, absolutely nobody. Disney, let's do a new Mighty Ducks.
Well,
although
at least
there is part of me, like I said,
this way.
I am kind of curious to see, because the trailer actually shows like a millennial type twist where the mom is yelling at the kid as he's walking into the rink, "Put on your sunscreen," and the kid's like, "It's indoors, Mom."
At least this way,
So,
it's not going to be a movie. It's going to be a streaming television series.
well, this is true, but there's also. Go ahead.
I'm
But then there's. Well, there's also the Nicolas Cage Netflix comedy series, which I think we are going to need to somehow figure out how to review after the new year, where he talks about a history of swear words. This should be required viewing for everyone doing virtual learning.
Mm-hmm. Just like Drunken History.
Yes. And Iron Sky.
Wait a second. We're still waiting on the third in that trilogy, aren't we?
No, there was never a third. What?
Yes. I think there's going to be a
Oh,
third.
the Ark. The Ark. Yes. Oh my God, there's a teaser trailer out. Did we know that? Did I know this? Did you know this?
I did not know that. Ah, yes. Great. Yeah. What was it? The teaser trailer came out in 2018.
Okay, so the company behind it, Iron Sky Universe, they went bankrupt in October.
Ah. Somebody can pick it up.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Do it.
Andy Garcia was tagged in the cast. Who doesn't want to see Andy Garcia in the Iron Sky? I want to see him in it. All right. Oh, that really should be the end of the show. So let's let it be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good idea.
apparently they lost copyright to Iron Sky, so they couldn't make it.
Mm.
Maybe we can.
Yeah. Maybe we can get all the famous actors, and we'll just do it one line at a time or one scene.
We don't
at a
need
time.
all the famous actors.
Well, we'll
We
get
just
all-
need Gary Busey. Gary Busey can play all the roles for a tuna fish sandwich. No?
Could be. I guess it could be. All right. Folks, thanks for tuning in and listening to the insanity that is PTR Radio. We're here usually every 2 weeks, which means we'll be back in a couple weeks so that you can tune in and listen more. So that's going to put us at the 28th. So that's also going to be our New Year's countdown show. So if you want to count down with PTR Radio, don't listen live. Bring it down on the podcast and count down to midnight with your friends at PTR Radio. But otherwise, you can just listen to us live too. That's always an option. You can listen to us twice. Maybe you missed something the first time. You never know. We talk fast. You know, there's a lot of jokes that get hidden in there. So we don't have any personal appearances because, well, Rona. That's why. We don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. We just, we are the world. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. I don't got anything else. You guys got anything else? I don't got nothing.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either. So, all right, folks. That said, don't forget to check us out, ptrradio.com, or check out our social medias at PTR Radio on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the fun stuff. With that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm going.
I am Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.